Just noticed. Yeah, he's nice.
Will the clerk please call the roll?
Hilberg.
Here.
Colasar.
Here.
Lamb.
Here.
Rose.
Here.
Shields.
Here.
Simpson.
Here.
Coyne.
Here. Reading of the minutes.
Mr. President,
Mr. Shields.
I move that the minutes of the regular meeting of September 10th, 2012, as prepared and submitted by the clerk, be approved.
Second.
Any discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll on approving the minutes?
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coyne.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Reports of standing committees. The Finance Committee, we had a meeting this evening, and we'll have an additional meeting on October 9th, which is a Tuesday, since Monday is a holiday, at 5:30. Health, Safety, and Sanitation Committee, Mr. Rose.
Thank you, Mr. President. No report and no meeting scheduled at this time.
Thank you. Public Properties Committee, Mr. Shields.
Thank you, Mr. President. No meeting scheduled, but we are working on setting up a meeting. We have 2 items to come before Public Properties, but no report at this point.
Thank you. Special Legislation Committee, Mr. Lamb.
Thank you, Mr. President. No meeting scheduled and nothing to report.
Thank you. Streets and Sidewalks Committee, Mr. Simpson.
Thank you, Mr. President. No meeting scheduled, nothing to report.
Thank you. And Water Utilities Committee, Mr. Colzar.
Thank you, Mr. President. Nothing to report at this time.
Thank you. Request for council action. We have several items for the Finance Committee. We have 12-173, which is the NSP reallocation. We have 12-174, which is budget amendments. 12-175, zoning map amendment. 406 South Broadway from R3 to OC. 12-176, purchase of a street sweeper. 12-177, second amendment to the JED section number 21. 12-178, expenditure over $15,000 to CQ printing for the finance. 12-179, downtown district redevelopment, Coral Company. 12-180, East Smith Road storm sewer repair. 12-181, Ohio Public Works issue 1 loan application. And 12-182, qualification statements for engineering services. Reports of municipal officers. Mayor Hanwell.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a reminder, the State of the City was provided to the Medina Chamber on September 4th, and that is available on Medina TV website link at YouTube with the City of Medina link, or by going to the City of Medina website. They moved it off the front page over under the news now, but if you click on the link for State of the City on 9/4/12, it'll bring the presentation up. On September 12th, 2012, Medina won the national award along with the schools for 100 best communities for young people. This award was given to Medina to recognize the outstanding and innovative work in addressing the high school dropout crisis, and for its programs and services that make Medina an outstanding place for youth to live, learn, and grow. The collaboration by the city, the schools, and the community have all contributed to the success of the community and the resulting award. The award or analysis included 5 promises or resources that are necessary for the development of healthy and successful children, and those are caring adults, safe places, a healthy start, effective education, and opportunities to help others. Our community has multiple programs to address each of these needs. We were one of only 4 cities chosen in the state of Ohio, and today my office received a certificate of commendation for this recognition from Ohio Secretary of State John Husted. I provided council members with a copy and the press right before the meeting with a copy of that commendation. And then lastly, the Medina SPCA is in the final heat for the American SPCA and Rachel Ray Challenge. They have the opportunity to win a $25,000 grant, and what the last phase is to have a 24-hour adoption event at the SPCA, which is 245 South Medina Street. And it starts on Friday, October 19th at 10 a.m. and goes until 10 a.m. on Saturday, October 20th. In addition to the animals up for adoption, they'll have food, vendors, music, and activities for families. Now, it's not like our SPCA is competing with other cities of disproportionate size. What they look at is what the normal adoption rates are for the community, and then look for percentage of increase So they're going to make some posters for us to hang in the public buildings and put on our cable access and try to encourage people to help them win this $25,000 grant. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Durham, Director of Finance.
Thank you, Mr. President. First of all, within the last couple of weeks, the city auditor, our neighbor to the south, Wadsworth, John Moss, passed away. He was in an accident while driving back and forth between a conference in Cincinnati that I also attended for government officers. John was a very intelligent and respected member of my profession. I worked with him in his department on a number of things, so our condolences and thoughts and prayers go out to his family on that. The Finance Department continues to work on finalizing the bond issue, and of course we're looking forward to the budget hearing later this week.
Thank you. So are we. Mr. Huber, Law Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no report.
Thank you. Chief Berarducci, Police Chief.
Thank you, Mr. President. I don't have any report either.
Thank you. Ms. Rice, Economic Development Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. As you know, we had our last Economic Development Committee meeting at the Medina Municipal Airport to bring more education and awareness to the committee as well as our advocates. And we had a really nice turnout, and I just wanted to thank Greg Huber, Earl Olson, and Miles Reed for their presentations on the airport expansions, the improvements, the history of aviation in Medina, the history of the airport, and the airport website. We've gotten a lot of positive feedback from that meeting, and our next regular meeting date is scheduled for October 16th here at City Hall at 7:45 a.m. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Painter, Fire Chief.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted one item here that recently our fire department received a cache of rescue equipment from Medina County EMA, specifically the Trot Division. And this contained trench and structural collapse materials as well as ice and water rescue equipment, including exposure suits and necessary ropes, and then a full complement of rope rescue equipment, including harnesses. It's just over $15,000 worth of equipment they gave to us. And then this afternoon at the Board of Control, we did get a rescue trailer approved, and that's where this equipment will be stored and housed in. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Wright, Recreation Center Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a reminder, in an effort to help ensure the safety and security of the patrons of the MCRC, all non-members of the REC will need to follow our ID policy. This policy requires that all patrons using the facility that are non-members are required to show an ID in order to enter the facility. Day passes will not be sold to persons who fail to present a photo ID, and all guests 12 years and younger must be accompanied by an adult providing proper photo identification. This policy was deemed necessary as it allows us to check all patrons 18 and over to a National Sexual Offender Registry, and for added security purposes gives us a log of all patrons entering the building. Thank you for your cooperation regarding this policy. The Rec Center and the Medina Early Childhood PTA is partnering again for another Just Kid Stuff garage sale this Saturday, September 29th from 9 a.m. to noon. Admission for shoppers coming in between 9 and 10 a.m. will be $5, and from 10 to noon is only $1. Items include anything from toys and clothes to sports equipment and more. There's no need to worry about the rain because it's all indoors at the Medina Rec. Lastly, our next scheduled Rec Advisory Board meeting is Thursday, November 15th at 7:30 at the Rec Center. The October meeting has been canceled. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Vogel, Building Official.
Thank you, Mr. President. One of the most important goals of this building department is to inform the public about the value of obtaining building permits. Toward that end, tonight I would like to address a common misconception among property owners, and that is the fear that once an inspector enters a home or business, a raft of violations will be found that had nothing to do with the original permit that was pulled. Of course, if we see a serious situation or hazard, we are duty-bound to report it. The reality is that those situations are extremely rare and usually addressed long before a building inspection is performed. Our goal as inspectors and as a building department is to provide assistance and guidance to property owners as well as contractors to get the job done right. It is not our desire to pile violations on during this process. We feel this would be counter to our main goal, which is this: to have all of our citizens actively seek out a permit when doing any type of construction. We would like to change the perception that the inspector-builder relationship is adversarial. We are working here in the Medina City Building Department as partners to our citizens in the construction work that you do. Please continue to obtain permits when you do construction work, and we will promise not to look for violations that are irrelevant to the job at hand. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hannon, Planning and Community Development Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no report this evening.
Thank you. Mr. Patton, City Engineer.
Thank you, Mr. President. A couple updates on some active projects. Lake Road reconstruction. The stabilization of the northbound lane is completed. We're scheduled to pour concrete on that northbound lane this Friday and Saturday, working with all the businesses to accommodate their needs. Beechwood Drive stabilization started last week. Will be continued in the next day or two. Concrete is scheduled to be placed starting next Monday, October 1st. And lastly, the Champion Creek multipurpose path. The final asphalt placement will be completed this week. In fact, it started today. We expected the trail to be officially open within the next 2 to 3 weeks. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Piccoli, Service Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. The City Leaf Program is ready to start. We are waiting for the leaves to drop. The rotation of the pickup will be the same as every year, starting in the northwest quadrant, working to the northeast and southeast, etc. Please remember to rake the leaves to the curb and not into the street, and if possible, do not block sidewalks. Additionally, we have secured, I'm happy to report, an excellent price for salt for the 2012-2013 winter season. Our vendor will be Cargill De-Icing Incorporated Technology. The price per ton is $38.20. This season's cost is $8.11 less than the $46.31 per ton charged last year. So, good news. Thank you.
Thank you. Notices, communications, and petitions. There are none. Unfinished business. None. Introduction of visitors. Members of the public will be permitted the opportunity to speak on any issue or concern which pertains to the city during the portion of council agenda devoted to introduction of visitors. All comments shall be directed to the chair, and a reasonable time limit of approximately 5 minutes will be imposed. If there is a group, please appoint a spokesperson. Speakers should approach the front right microphone and state their name and address so it can be entered into the minutes. Members of the public will be afforded an opportunity to comment on other portions of the meeting as determined by the chair or by a vote of the majority of council members present. Is there anybody that wishes to address council? Erica?
Thank you, Mr. President. Erica Graffine, representing the Auditor's Office. I have a few reminders tonight. The first is that there's a mailing coming out that looks official, and it's coming from the 605 North High Street in Columbus, and it's letting property owners know that for $89, they can get them a copy of their deed and their property record card. Those items can be obtained for $2 for your deed, I believe, 10 cents a page, and there is 10 cents a page for the property record card in the auditor's office. So we're trying to let people know not to do that. The second announcement is that we are holding some informal hearings right now, and that's for our current values, the values that we have now. There's some confusion that it's our 2013 values, but we won't see those for another year. And those are going to be for calendar year 14. So if a property owner has a recent appraisal or recent sales comparables, they can come into the office or they can submit their information to the auditor at medinacountyauditor.org, and we'll look at that. Again, we're having a few more informal hearings now because of the continued problems with the economy and the sales. Lastly, we're having a contest. The prize is $100 paid by the auditor, not the auditor's office, to the contest winner, and that's to go on our website and click on the birthday cake. That celebrates 15 years of internet access, and it's just done a lot for our office. And when we first started, it just we could see the information being obtained more and more from the internet. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else that wishes to address council? Introduction and consideration of ordinances and resolutions. Ordinance 169-12, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to advertise for competitive bids and award a contract to the successful bidder for a one-year supply of various kinds of maintenance materials needed for streets and water lines, including but not limited to salt, the chemicals used for treatment of water, and water meters to be used by the various departments of the city of Medina.
Move to approve.
Second. Discussion? Mr. Piccoli.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. We're looking to have authorization for this bid for our yearly supply of the various materials needed for service department.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll on the ordinance?
Lamb?
Yes.
Rose?
Yes.
Shields?
Yes.
Simpson?
Yes.
Coyne?
Yes.
Hilberg?
Yes.
Colasar?
Yes.
Ordinance 169-12 passes 7-0.
Ordinance 170-12, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to advertise for the auction, sale, or disposal of city equipment and vehicles no longer in use.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Mr. Piccoli.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is our authorization for our annual auction. Items included are trucks, tools, equipment, forfeited items from the police department, jewelry, electronics. There are probably 300 items. The list will be available on our website with approval, and we have not solidified a date for the actual auction. We're possibly looking at the beginning of November, and that date will be forthcoming once it's secured.
Thank you. Any further discussion or comments? Will the clerk please call the roll on the ordinance?
Rose?
Yes.
Shields?
Yes.
Simpson?
Yes.
Coyne?
Yes.
Hilberg?
Yes.
Colasar?
Yes.
Lamb?
Yes.
Ordinance 170-12 passes 7-0.
Ordinance 171-12, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to solicit requests for proposals, RFPs, for the new City of Medina website.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. President. What this is requesting to do is get proposals to redo the entire city website. We have a number of challenges with the existing website. One is it's not available on mobile devices, so people with phones, iPads, things like that are not able to use it. Another enhancement would be the ability to fill out forms and send them back electronically. Right now you can print off the forms, but you still have to mail them or scan them and then send them back in. The actual RFP was put together by Miles Reed after he met with each and every department as to what we would like to see the website become. And one of the current challenges are that you have to go through multiple pages and stages to get to wherever. So one of the restrictions here is that no more than 3 clicks to get to the destination. And that's all in how they set this up. And then last but not least is that we will have for our vacant commercial buildings and our vacant industrial buildings photos, descriptions, square footage, locations, to help market the city and try to fill some of these vacant businesses.
Thank you.
Yes,
Any
sir.
further discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll on the ordinance?
Shields?
Yes.
Simpson?
Yes.
Coyne?
Yes.
Hilberg?
Yes.
Colasar?
Yes.
Lamb?
Yes.
Rose?
Yes.
Ordinance 171-12 passes 7-0.
Ordinance 172-12, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a real estate agreement with the Ohio Department of Transportation for the West Smith Road reconstruction project.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Mr. Patton?
Thank you, Mr. President. A portion of the West Smith Road reconstruction project is being federally funded. Because of that, we are required to follow ODOT criteria on certain items, one of which is the acquisition of real estate, which we'll need for easements for utilities and whatnot. This agreement lays out those stipulations and makes clear whose responsibility, our responsibility for that work.
Thank you. Any further questions or comments? Will the clerk please call the roll on the ordinance?
Simpson?
Yes.
Coyne?
Yes.
Hilberg?
Yes.
Colasar?
Yes.
Lamb?
Yes.
Rose?
Yes.
Shields?
Yes.
Ordinance, 172-12 passes 7-0.
Resolution 173-12, a resolution requesting the extension of the City of Medina's fiscal year 2010 Community Development Block Grant Formula Revitalization and Microenterprise Grant and the fiscal year 2011 Community Development Block Grant Formula Grant.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Mr. Patton? Is that you? Mr. Hand?
I can date this. This grant request is being forwarded to the state of Ohio. This grant application is funding the splash pad at Ray Mallard Park and our micro enterprise loan program. Due to some high bids, the splash pad proposal is being restructured in hopes of a spring construction. And we still have some funds in the micro enterprise grant, which we'd like to loan out. And the grant extension would be continued until next September. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll on the resolution?
Coyne?
Yes.
Hilberg?
Yes.
Colasar?
Yes.
Lamb?
Yes.
Rose?
Yes.
Shields?
Yes.
Simpson?
Yes.
Resolution 173-12 passes 7-0.
Ordinance 174-12, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement and plan of industrial commercial distribution and research and development between the City of Medina and the Medina City Development Corporation, CIC.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Ms. Rice?
Thank you, Mr. President. This is the next step in the formation of the Community Improvement Corporation, where the city and the CIC enter into an agreement so that the CIC can perform economic development on behalf of the city.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Will clerk please call the roll on the ordinance?
Hilberg,
Yes.
Colasar,
Yes.
Lamb,
Yes.
Rose,
Yes.
Shields,
Yes.
Simpson,
Yes.
Coyne.
Yes.
Ordinance 174-12 passes 7-0.
Ordinance 175-12, an ordinance approving the Second Amendment to the City of Medina, Montville Township Joint Economic Development District and Annexation Contract.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? I guess I could address this one. This is an amendment to the existing JET agreement, as we call it, with Montville Township. During the process, somehow Section 21 of the agreement, which deals with tax abatement exemptions and incentives and TIFs, was inadvertently left off the final agreement. This is just to recognize that Section 21 should have been a part of the original agreement, and we need to reapprove that, adding Section 21 to the agreement. Any further discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll on the ordinance?
Colasar,
Yes.
Lamb,
Yes.
Rose,
Yes.
Shields,
Yes.
Simpson,
Yes.
Coyne,
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Ordinance 175-12 passes 7-0.
Ordinance 176-12, an ordinance approving the revised form of Articles of Incorporation pertaining to the establishment of the Medina City Development Corporation.
Move to approve.
Second.
Ms. Rice?
Thank you, Mr. President. The Attorney General's office changed some of the language in the Articles of Incorporation that dealt with the CIC and the assets if the CIC should close down and how the assets should be dispersed. So this is basically just approving the revised Articles of Incorporation changed by the Attorney General's office, accepted by the Secretary of State, so that all of our paperwork is in order.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll on the ordinance?
Lamb,
Yes.
Rose,
Yes.
Shields,
Yes.
Simpson,
Yes.
Coyne,
Yes.
Hilberg,
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Ordinance 176-12 passes 7-0.
Ordinance 177-12, an ordinance amending ordinance number 172-11, passed December 12, 2011, amendments to the 2012 budget.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Shields.
I notice under Section 1 we need to amend the ordinance to remove the reference to Ray Mellard's splash pad at $25,000 since we did not do that addition today. So I'll move at this time to amend 177-12.
A second.
Any discussion on the amendment? Will the clerk please call the roll on the amendment?
Lamb,
Yes.
Rose,
Yes.
Shields,
Yes.
Simpson,
Yes.
Coyne,
Yes.
Hilberg,
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
The ordinance, Mr. Durham, you have anything to add to the ordinance?
I'd like to clarify the amendment as well, if I could.
Sure, go ahead.
We're pulling that off not because we're not doing it. We're going to do the Ray Mallard splash pad, but the rest of the appropriation for it, because it's coming from other funds as well, will be ready for the next meeting. It wasn't, so we wanted to make sure we did that all at the same time. The other two items on here are a pass-through and then for payment of funds under the Job Creation Grant Program.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the ordinance? Will the clerk please call the roll on the ordinance?
Rose,
Yes.
Shields,
Yes.
Simpson,
Yes.
Coyne,
Yes.
Hilberg,
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Ordinance 177-12 passes 7-0 as amended.
We have additions to the agenda. We have one resolution, Resolution 178-12, and we have one ordinance, Ordinance 179-12.
Move to add 178-12 and 179-12 to the agenda.
Second.
Any discussion adding resolution and ordinance to the agenda? Will the clerk please call the roll on the additions?
Shields,
Yes.
Simpson,
Yes.
Coyne,
Yes.
Hilberg,
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Resolution 178-12, a resolution authorizing the application for grant assistance from the State of Ohio, Ohio Public Works Commission, relative to Issue 1 and LTIP program funding for a water line replacement project on Wadsworth Road.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion?
Mr. President,
Mr. Shields?
the emergency clause has been requested. I move to add it at this time.
Mr. Wetzel would have been proud of us up to this point, but I
Almost
will.
made it.
My
Almost
second
made it.
does include the emergency clause.
Thank you. Any discussion? Mr. Patton?
Thank you. The city was approached a couple weeks ago by County Engineer Mike Saleh about an opportunity to take advantage of the loan program that comes annually with Ohio Public Works Commission programs. Typically, we request and have been very successful at getting grants. We've done that again this year. We'll find out how we do shortly. But they also have a loan program. This is a 0% 20-year loan program. There's no penalty for paying off early. We decided to take advantage of it to pursue a project to replace some old and corroded water line in Wadsworth Road. We're requesting an emergency clause because the grant is due, or I'm sorry, the application is due by the end of the month.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the emergency clause? Will the clerk please call the roll on the emergency clause?
Coyne.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Any further discussion on the resolution? Will the clerk please call the roll on the resolution?
Simpson.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Coyne.
Yes.
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Resolution 178-12 passes 7-0.
Ordinance 179-12, an ordinance amending ordinance number 140-12, passed July 11, 2012, relative to the North Huntington Waterline Replacement Project.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Mr. Patton.
Thank you. When this resolution or ordinance passed, it was passed with a total budgeted amount of $36,000. We went through the bid process, and the low bid came in at $36,580 some dollars. We'd like to award it. The $36,000 being paid for by a grant. The balance, a little under $600, would come from city funds, but this is for a waterline replacement project on North Huntington.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll on the ordinance?
Hilberg.
Yes.
Colasar.
Yes.
Lamb.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coyne.
Yes.
Ordinance 179-12 passes 7-0.
Council comments. I have two. The first one is, it's a reminder, on September 27th, this Thursday at 5:30, we have a budget meeting. Hope to see everybody there. And then again on October 9th is a Tuesday. We do not have council on Monday, October 8th. It's going to be on Tuesday because of the holiday, because it's Columbus Day. So is any other council comments? Hearing none, the meeting's adjourned.